If you are not making gains on 10 sets per week per muscle group, you are probably not training hard enough. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about this. And the thing is, when it comes to this, I am not saying that there isn't data showing very high volumes of training can produce extra muscle growth. That's what we need to be very, very clear on with this. I am not saying that. What I'm saying is that every study that has ever looked at high volumes of training that found extra gains showed that it produced a very small amount of additional muscle growth. Right? It has shown a very small amount of additional muscle growth. To my knowledge, there has never been a study done where test subjects of any of the groups saw muscle growth, where people in about that 8 to 10 set range who were training hard, where the researchers kept up with it, didn't gain robust amounts of muscle. Meaning it is never like only 20% of what the higher group gains. It is always higher than 50%. All right? So what does this tell you? I mean, if you look at the data, what does this say? Because it's usually somewhere, so sometimes those slightly lower volumes, not necessarily rock bottom volume, because, one set per week would be rock bottom volume, right? 2 sets a week. But we start getting up, 8 to 10. It's usually something compared to the really high volume groups, something like 70 to 99% or even 100% of the muscle growth. Okay? It's something in that range usually. But that means they all gained muscle. So that's been pretty consistent. They always gain muscle. So when someone says, well, I'm not making any gains, so therefore I need to increase my training volume. Well, how advanced of a lifter are you? Because I've seen plenty of experts like Beardsley and others show that really advanced lifters sometimes can't handle the same sets and reps less advanced lifters can. They can't recover from it if it is sufficiently fatiguing. Right? If it's their 10 reps in reserve, or if it's their 10 rep sets with 0 reps in reserve, they can't do many of those. Okay? And it has to do oftentimes with absolute weight. Really advanced lifters, 10 rep max on a squat or a deadlift or even a leg press, like their true 10 rep max, is oftentimes way heavier than the less advanced lifters' 1 rep max. So you think in terms of the fatigue and loading. But, that aside, people will argue that the really advanced lifter oftentimes has a much higher minimum effective volume. Yeah, true. But that minimum effective volume has a weight component. Volume is not always how many sets and reps did you do. Okay? I think on each exercise it also has a weight component. In other words, 3 sets of 10 with 300 pounds is more volume than 3 sets of 10 with 200 pounds. Okay? So when we're talking about these minimum volumes, this does matter. And again, I'm talking about assuming consistent technique and form and range of motion, right? I'm not talking about changing ranges of motion and cheating more to get to that same weight. But in general, there's absolutely a tension component. And it has to be factored in. It is a factor. There's a reason with more advanced lifters, more of our volume needs to be the easier exercises. Right? In other words, squat, bench, and deadlift can only comprise so much of our actual sets per week. It's a reason you'll see me, doing stuff like leg extensions and lateral raises and things. Right? There's a reason they're in there, because I can recover from them easier set to set. So we do the big stuff with relatively low amounts of volume. And then most of our additional volume that we're going to do, it's pump work with easier exercises. That has to occur as we get more advanced. More novice lifters, not so much. They're just simply not capable of overtraining themselves on a back squat usually. Right? They're going to start seeing form degrade and performance loss well before it becomes a big recovery issue in the gym. Okay? That's more likely to get them. They still have the work capacity to maintain good form and stuff on it for high volumes. But the point is, everyone can gain on these sort of things, and I've seen it with advanced lifters. Again, I've taken clients who are advanced lifters who have very limited gym time, and we've done that sort of training, and they've hit 500-pound drug-free squats and things. It happens. Now, granted, they were eating a lot and they were sleeping a lot. Okay, those are big factors. But the point is, when it comes to the really high volumes of training, when you're doing that, you are doing it seeking optimization of hypertrophy in a given period of time, maybe even just for a phase. It should not be how you get bigger. It's purely chasing more quality of size, right? Doing more work, hoping to elicit a slightly more robust response. Okay, but I can assure you that you are never going to get so advanced that 10 sets a week produces no muscle growth. And again, going back, if you guys recall, I've had some clients who did less than that and still made good gains, who were advanced lifters. Okay, we've absolutely seen it. Absolutely seen it. Again, I've seen as low as 6 sets for things like pecs and quads, and watch lifters get bigger and stronger. Who were already in that 300 bench press range, 400 plus squat range. Absolutely happens. They trained hard. I've had lifters who train 3 times a week doing that sort of training. Now, I like 4-day upper lowers, but I've seen plenty of lifters do a 3-day push-pull legs type setup, squat, bench, deadlift day, and then accessories around each one, who got real big, who got real strong, doing even less than 10 sets. Right? Context. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.